Fellow female activists, we're back, and it is a recommendation today. Cathy Perez here, your wellness coach, and as we like to perform in both our wellness and our recommendation playlists, we will drop into our better Zen self, and we will go ahead, or I should say, sage selves, and we'll practice our our positive quotient repetitions, PQ reps. Positive quotient repetitions, PQ reps. So whether you're sitting, standing, laying down, you can perform these. Only if you feel safe, feel free to close your eyes. And here we go. Whichever posture you're taking, again, what I ask is that you go ahead and think of your spine being tall. So think of it elongating, okay, on both ends. And even if you're laying down, you can do this, like literally stretch yourself out and then pull your shoulders back, regardless of where you're at, so that your chest is nice and wide. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to just concentrate on our breath. But what we're going to do is we're going to let it only come in through our mouth, or sorry, our nose, as it should happen. And then what you want to do is think about what the air like feels coming in, and it should feel theoretically cooler. And then when it comes out of your nose, it should actually feel warmer. So that's what we're concentrating on. And not hard, maybe 10% of your brain is just noticing the sensation of your breath coming in and out of your nose. If your mind has wandered, come back to your breath. And now, what I want you to do is, if you're able, listen to the furthest away sound you can hear. Now, listen to the closest sound you can hear. And when you're ready, feel free to blink open your eyes. And we're back. You hopefully, if this is new to you, positive quotient repetitions or PQ reps, hopefully you feel at least a little bit less tense than when you started. And just so you know, again, if you're someone who practices like meditation, yes, it's much like meditation. The root, right, of meditation is being able to come back to your body. And that's exactly what PQ reps are about. It's about connecting your mind to your body. Too often we seemingly have them talking like without each other. Like you want your brain and your body to always be connected. And that's really hard if we're always in a fight or flight mode. Okay. And we're all, majority of us who are adults, dealing with low grade. And I would actually say, unfortunately, now children, right? Because let's just be serious. It's not easy being any type of living being on this planet right now. And even obviously little people, okay, definitely could contribute or can get something out of, whether that's meditation or PQ reps, it can give them a wonderful tool belt of um, mental fitness tools that can grow with them so that they don't end up always tense. So today's recommendation, and the recommendation today is, especially, right? If you're listening to this, I have to presume that you are a female, that you are interested in some way, shape, or form in what's happening to the US in particular with our political coup, right? And we want to end fascism and bring in what could literally be a second reconstruction, but this time actually get to the end result we're looking for. And it's not going to happen in our lifetime, all right? But the recommendation today is for the 2026 midterms here in the US, pick one candidate, progressive candidate, I presume that you're going to pick. Pick one candidate that you're going to help with their campaign. And it can be as little as, 1 hour a week. This is my whole recommendation here. Pick one candidate to help in their campaign throughout 26, okay? And if that's all you do, that's fantastic. Also, if you feel the energy, if you have the bandwidth, pick one progressive issue that you can stand by and then find, a campaign of some sort, whether it's another organization, whether, who knows. But don't overload yourself. This is unfortunately depending on where you are, in your lifespan. I am Gen X. And so I am on the other side of what would be considered a lifespan, right? So I am closer to my rainbow ending versus on the other side of it. Now, of course, none of us know when our, you know, uh, when that dash is going to end for each one of us. And I would hope in a previous, quiz or something that I took, like a survey of my lifestyle, supposedly I have the ability to live to be 101 years old. I am I am looking forward to level 101, believe it or not. I mean, if I can get to level 51, which is where I'm at right now, I'm blessed. To quote Mark Twain, which I always forget the exact wording, but he basically said in a beautiful quote, do not, um, do not, you know what? Let me get it because I always forget it and I should know it by heart. It's just that important to me. I have it saved. Um, and you would think that I would remember it by now. Do not complain about growing old. It is a privilege denied to many. Mark Twain. Yep. I love that quote. And it goes to show you that, our time here on earth is very, very short. It's so finite and so small. It's a blip. And I know that in my lifetime, I may not see what has happened to the US turn itself around. It's a scary thought. And unfortunately, now I know what people in Europe felt like. That's horrible to think that now I am living through what Europeans lived through in the 1930s and 40s. Insane and not in a good way. Like, people will say mind blowing in a good way. No, this is mind chilling, bone chilling, whatever you want. Yeah, bone chilling. So, your recommendation to get through 2026, and this is only if you have the bandwidth. Like, people are losing healthcare. People are possibly, going to be, so many people are without homes now. Like, it's crazy in the US. Um, but if you have the bandwidth, pick one candidate that you believe in, that you really truly feel they're not part of the establishment, Dems, the hierarchy that has led us to this, okay? Because I've always been someone who voted Dem. Why? Because I at least believed, one, that they wanted to keep democracy, but they wanted to expand it. And I have never, ever voted against my best interest. I can at least say that about me. I'm not the smartest, tool in the shed, but I damn well have never, ever voted against my own best interest as a female, as as a Latina, on and on. I knew that if it was good for me, it was probably going to be good for everyone else because as someone who is considered a person of color, that means that I'm marginalized. And so what is going to be good for me is going to ripple out and help others. I wish more people would have thought about that in the 2024 elections. But we digress. So again, recommendation, pick one candidate who is progressive for sure. And you know what? The younger, the better. um, I am so done with anyone right now in the Dem Party who is not calling for better leadership. I voted for change. I did not vote to have establishment Dems squash everything that people have worked for the last 40 years, 50 years actually. So do not let anyone fool you, okay? I don't trust any of the Dem senators right now. They knew what would happen, okay, when they voted, however they voted for the budget that passed. You can decide to only blame eight of those senators who voted yes, but no, you get to completely be suspicious and not trust any of the senators. The House, they need a new leader once the Dems take over. It can't be Jeffries. He does not have what it takes in this moment of fascism to fight it. He has proven over and over again that he refuses to fight. So we need to pick Democratic candidates that will not just win in the primary, but gosh darn it, they're going to fight like hell to win in the general, and they're going to take their progressive movements to Congress. And we want that. And so if you have the bandwidth, get on board with someone, okay? On the federal level, if you want, state level, local level, it doesn't matter which way, but understand, right? Government is local, okay? So if you only choose to help a local candidate, guess what? That matters a hell of a lot. And it will have that ripple effect on up on the federal level. But pick one candidate so you don't burn yourself out. Then pick one social justice issue, right? One issue, okay? And it can be, global warming, I should say, just in general, the climate. It can be, it can be agriculture. Like pick something that speaks to you, that you're passionate about, and then run with it again within your bandwidth. Because when you focus that much, you have more effectiveness. Okay, this isn't about trying to be everything to everyone. No, no, no. I have always decided my lane when it came to issues was reproductive justice. That's my lane. That's where I stay. Now, sometimes I'll come out, right? Like I helped successfully volunteer with what became a wonderful campaign through the American Library Association. And I'm an avid reader, so I called during their campaign to make sure that the funding did not end for libraries nationally. And the campaign did what it was supposed to do, and the funding has been restored to all of the national libraries. Okay, that's awesome. But I also knew that I had the bandwidth for it. Okay, so I was passionate about it and I had the bandwidth for it. But I actually had two other campaigns I was helping with at the time. I don't suggest that to anyone. Okay, I want you to concentrate on one candidate. And again, it can be on any level, but pick one and then pick a issue, right, that is meaningful to you, and then run with it. And however many hours you can give during the week, fine. But don't burn yourself out. We have a very long process ahead of us. I am certain that we can flip everything in 26 to meaning that we can take back both chambers of Congress. But it's going to take some concentrated effort because the 90 million who did not vote, those are the people that we get to reach. And that's not going to be easy. Meanwhile, just my personal note, I was a 24/7, 365. Well, I shouldn't say 365 because it was only for 2 months, but I was a 24/7 caretaker from my Thea, my aunt, back in 23. And she, which we didn't know at the time, but from the time she had an MRI until the day she actually passed was only a 4 month span. Okay. So I say this because I did not know that I was dealing with someone with advanced dementia. We knew that she had cognitive decline, but we were told that it was mild. We were not told until 2 months into this that it was actually worse. And I say this because my prediction, and it's just my personal prediction, that by the time you're seeing this, uh, Vance may already be in the White House, is what I'm saying. And I say that only because be aware that once the Cheeto is gone, whenever that happens, the cult goes with them, meaning Vance is not going to hold on to anything. No one, no one is going to follow him. No one is going to want to vote for him. And if they do so, it's not going to be in the same numbers as, unfortunately, his cult leader had. I mean, unfortunately, in the fact that people don't like JD at all. He's a horrible, horrible individual, a horrible, like, yeah, there's nothing good to say about him. But I say that because even though, right, that we can't take over the presidency until 28, a lot more harm can be reduced because no one is going to listen to, yeah, it's ridiculous to think about the VP right now and that that person's going to be made president when the Cheeto is gone. So, like I said, this may already come to pass, but what I'm telling you is concentrate on one candidate to summarize, concentrate on one issue that you want to see forwarded in a progressive movement, and then just concentrate on that because, you know, it's going to get crazy for these midterms, and you get to conserve whatever energy you have to make sure that they're um, going to last, that you will last through the end of the year. And I firmly believe that come January 2027 and then January 2028, things will get a lot better. It's not going to be easy, and we may not see it in our lifetime, right? But we will stop fascism. And then we will start the really hard work of a generation worth of work to make sure that that reconstruction is something positive. So with that, you all be wonderful, and we will talk to you soon. Take care, take charge, God bless.